laptop screen, ready for the Python scene. All those lines of text so clean, let's code and chase that dream. Python world, here we go. Write the script, let it flow.
In this video, we're going to talk about your textbook for CS1026 and how you can obtain it. Okay, we're looking at our OWL Brightspace site, and one of the options under our course overview unit is required textbook. It has all the information you need to know about the textbook we'll be using. In this case, it's Programming in Python 3 with zyLabs, and this is electronic zyTextbook, which is interactive and offered over your web browser, so it's not a physical text that you can obtain. We offer two different ways to obtain that textbook. The first is through Western's bookstore, and you can purchase a code directly from them at the cost of $75 Canadian. The other option is going to be purchasing directly from zyBook. In that case, it's $57 USD, which is about $57 or $75 Canadian. So they're about the same, but one's charged in USD and one's charged in Canadian. So they might change a little bit based on the current exchange rate. So if you'd like to purchase from zyBook, which is the textbook manufacturer, you would navigate to the course site on zyBook using this link here. You'd sign up for an account, and then you would subscribe using a credit card or something that payment form they accept. If you don't have a credit card or anything like that, maybe you only have cash, then you can purchase from the bookstore at Western. In that case, you could use their online link or go there in person, and they will give you a code to use in the textbook. You'd still sign up for an account, but instead of paying, you would select subscribe and then input that you have a code from your school. Either way, the first step is going to be going to the zyBook website. And since you don't have an account, you are going to have to create an account. You can do that with this button up here that says Create Account. So fill in all your information here and make sure that you don't check I'm an instructor. You want to be registered as a student. So I'm going to quickly fill in that information now for a fake student account. Okay, now that I have all that entered, I'm going to hit Create Account. And you can see that we have a few options on the right here. We have Subscribe for School Term, which means you'll get the textbook for the term, and once the course is over, you'll lose access to the textbook. The other option is School Term plus 1 year. Costs more, but you'll have access to the textbook for an extra year after the course is over. For class info, it's really important that you put an email address ending in @uwo.ca. This allows us to track your progress in the textbook, and if you're in the online section, it allows us to give you credit for doing those participation activities and zyLabs. So even if you signed up for a different email address, make sure that you do put a University of Western Ontario email address here. The other important thing will be selecting your section. If you're in the online section, that means you're in section 650 online. If you're in any other section, one of the in-person sections, make sure you select the correct session here. You can also put in your student ID number here. Actually, you have to. So take your student ID from your student ID card and type it in here. Again, this allows us to have access to what you're doing on zyBook and get credit for that. So I'll just put a fake one now. And then you can either use Pay by Card, which means you put in your credit card information and it will charge your credit card, or you can use an access key, for example, from the bookstore, and that will give you access to the textbook. Until you do that, the only chapter you're going to have access to is Chapter 1. You can access Chapter 1 for free, but if you don't subscribe, you won't be able to access the future chapters. And this is a required text, especially if you're in the online section. Once you've filled in one of these options, you can click Subscribe. Okay, now that we're subscribed to the textbook, we can look at some of the features this textbook have. And one of the things you'll notice is this textbook isn't just reading text. It actually has interactive and participation components. If you're in an online section, completing these participation activities is important for your final grade, but for in-person sections, they're just for your own studying purposes. So the way you would complete one of these, right now we're looking at Chapter 1.1, Programming in General, is that you could just click Start or do whatever the activity entails. And the zyBook will keep track of how you're progressing through and doing those activities. Some activities are very basic, where you're just watching along, for example, this one, and other activities will be more involved, like writing actual Python code or solving multiple choice questions. You can complete them by redoing them as many times as you need to get them correct, and once they're completed, zyBook will put a little check mark beside them. Any participation activity is going to be marked with participation activity like this. Other types of activities, like zyLabs, will be marked with a label that denotes what kind they have. This is an example of one that could be right or wrong. That's how many instructions does this program have. If we answer something silly like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can see that it's incorrect and we don't get it marked as complete. But we are allowed to try again. So if we take a look at this, we might say, oh, that has 4 instructions. We update, and it's correct, and you can see that is now marked as completed. If you get something wrong in the zyBook, don't worry, you can always just try it again until it's correct. And you'll have a certain number of chapters assigned each week, and some of those will be marked as either required or optional. Let's take a look. So optional units or optional chapters will have the optional tag beside them. That means you don't have to read these or you don't have to complete these. They're just for your own studying purposes. Anything without that optional tag means that you should read it and you should complete it. But again, only for the online section is participation within the zyBook counted. Also, if you are in the online course, there will be a number of labs assigned each week. These will always start with zyLab. In this case, we have zyLab Training Basics, and these do contribute to your lab mark. If you're in an in-person section, these are optional and just for studying purposes. Your labs will be held in person. zyLabs are basically like programming, but within your web browser. Solve the program or run the program, and click Submit Grade. If it's submitted correctly, you'll see a score down here. If it's not, you won't get a full score. That's all I have for you this video on zyBook. I do highly recommend getting signed up with that textbook as soon as possible, as some of those sections are required, especially if you are in the online section. Thank you for watching this video, and have a great day.